Hi, my name is Jessica Neville. I'm a sophomore at NC State University majoring in biochemistry, and this year I had the privilege of entering the Undergraduate Human Rights Day essay contest. And I decided to enter because over the summer I read a book called Half the Sky, and it really opened my eyes to the issues of gender inequality that still exist in the world today that I really had no idea about. And after I read this book, I really wanted to share what I'd learned with other people, especially Americans. So I wrote this essay, so I'd like to read it for you. Here we go. As Americans, it is easy for us to become self-absorbed with our own problems and oblivious to the plight of the world around us. With the recent economic depression our nation is facing, I have heard many people say that things aren't so great in America right now. We're struggling to pay our own cell phone bills, and we don't need to worry about the rest of the world until we get our own act together. Yet, I can't help but wonder how many Americans know there is an estimated 12.3 million people in the world in slavery today, according to Anti-Slavery International. And, even more disconcerting, one of the most prominent forms of slavery, mostly affecting women and girls, is sex trafficking. A conservative estimate is that 3 million women and girls are enslaved in the sex trade, with millions more likely undocumented. Being born into the world female still bestows many unwarranted disadvantages on a baby. In some countries, it is openly accepted that boys are more valuable than girls, hence why in India, a girl is 50% more likely to die by the time she is 5 than a boy. Other nations give lip service to the idea of gender equality, but the actions of men and women alike do not reflect that they believe in true equity. The sex slave industry is an especially demoralizing form of imprisonment for girls and women because people are quick to stigmatize women in the industry, saying it was their choice. Although some women do choose a profession in the sex industry, many other young girls are forced into it by physical force as well as by circumstances such as poverty, lack of education, and social exile. I have a feeling that most Americans don't know about these atrocities because until this summer I didn't know myself. Yes, I knew poverty, hunger, oppression, and violence were still daily struggles outside of the U.S. borders, and even more common than talked about within American borders. But somewhere along the way, I came to believe that women had generally gained at least a separate but equal status with men. Reading Half the Sky this past summer was like a bucket of cold water splashed in my face, as I realized that not only were women considered less than men in much of the world, they were nowhere close to being considered equal. In America, we consider the fundamental rights of human beings to be life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness according to our Constitution. Yet even in this land, it wasn't too long ago that it was debated whether these rights belonged to just men or women as well. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men were created equal was a phrase that gave many men cause to believe they were the only ones created with any birthrights. Yet, fast forward to the 20th century, and women hold jobs at as high of a level as men in almost every field. They choose to be mothers, career women, or both, and they do not have to tolerate being treated disrespectfully by men. We often say other cultures cannot be changed because their customs are too entrenched in their society. That may be true, but it was also true in America not so long ago. Our society did not believe women even deserved the right to have a say in who governed their lives until less than 100 years ago. It may be hard work, but we have no reason to believe women cannot gain equality in the rest of the world as well. From reading one book, my standpoint on women's rights changed from believing it was a non-issue to believing it is a central moral issue of our time. Despite the direness of the situation women and girls find themselves in around the world, I do think there is a solution to their plight, one that has been proven time and time again: education. Though underappreciated in American society, it is still the symbol of what truly makes us free. That we have the ability to learn and gain knowledge, and from that knowledge to make our own decisions about how we think the world should be. A lot of women accept injustices in their lives because they have not been educated to know there is another way they could be living. Other women know but lack the education to get jobs for themselves, so they have no choice but to be dependent on male members of their households. An educated girl is one more step closer to a world of true gender equality. As the old saying goes, you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach him how to fish and feed him for a lifetime. So it is with girls' education. Giving a woman some money to take herself out of a negative situation does no good if, when she runs out of money, she is forced to return to an even more inhospitable home. But if you educate a girl so she has skills to work for herself, she can then work to make a better life. It is time we as Americans accepted the call to make gender equality worldwide one of our top priorities. Many nations look to us, the wealthiest country in the world, as an example of how the best societies work. If we respect our women, it increases the chance that other countries will follow suit. If we support programs that educate and empower girls around the world, other nations will buy into these programs as well. And if we take the time to stop and look at the world around us, we just might see that women truly do hold up half the sky.